Investigators later found Barreco with a weapon and a few bottles of vodka in his truck. Barreco was then charged, accused of being intoxicated while threatening 2 men with a gun.
Michael Barreco was ready to stop an altercation.
The defense argued Barreco only tried to help, believing 2 men were harassing the Circle K station clerk.
Didn't care if he was off duty. Didn't care if he was getting paid. It's his city. He's protecting everyone in it.
We find the defendant, Michael Anthony Barreco, not guilty of negligent use of a deadly weapon as charged in count 2. As to the special verdict form.
Breaking down into tears. After being found not guilty, BCSO Deputy Michael Barreco acquitted on 3 charges in court Friday.
A terrible tragedy at the State Police Academy in New Braintree. Sources tell the WBZI team trainee Enrique Delgado Garcia died after suffering critical injuries in a boxing exercise just weeks before graduation. His dream of becoming a trooper, now a horrifying nightmare for his family, classmates, and instructors.
Injuries of this nature, not only are they tragic, but they're very, very rare.
Todd McGee spent a decade as the Academy's defensive tactics coordinator. He implemented many safeguards to prevent injury. Trainees are paired by size and ability, and those with boxing experience can't participate.
16-ounce gloves, headgear, some type of groin protection, someone monitoring, making sure that the combatants are that they are engaged in something that is controlled. The instruction certainly shouldn't be to go and knock your fellow trainee's head off.
Your ID.
Confused why he needed to hand over his license, Zach Neno was then told he was trespassing.
No, ma'am, I have business to attend here, and this is a public building.
Neno says he was trying to pay his personal property taxes and was told he needed to leave by a nearby officer.
This is a public building. You can't trespass me absent a crime, and I have business to attend here. And he reaches out to grab me, and I back up, and I said, sir, you have no reason to talk to me. I says, back up and I'll take care of my business.
So Neno walked to another window and took a seat. You see that happening here.
So I sat down, probably wasn't 2 minutes. Both officers come up, get right up to me and say, sir, you're trespassing and creating a disturbance. You need to leave the building. I'm like, no, sir. The only one that created a disturbance was that officer right there. I says, I have business to attend to. Pay my taxes. They reached down, grabbed me, stood me up, put the handcuffs on me. He said I was resisting arrest, spun me around, threw me on the concrete floor.
He was then arrested and spent 12 hours behind bars. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office confirms he's facing 2 charges. He said the way he was treated wasn't right, and he's contacted the Internal Affairs and filed a complaint.
So the only thing that you didn't do that they wanted you to do was hand over the license?
Yeah. Never go into a situation intending to use force.
That was Captain Chris Helmick with the FARGO Police Department speaking about the use of force on the job. Well, the video on your screen shows a FARGO police officer taking an individual to the ground. FARGO PD says their officers are trained to use the least amount of force that is reasonable when dealing with a situation.
When they go into a situation where they have to use force, is use the minimal amount of force that's reasonable. That's the legal guideline, and that's what we try to follow.
Attorney Jennifer Braun for Alland Law Firm says the importance of recording an interaction with police goes a long way because it may protect a person's rights.
Record, because that will, later on, it'll protect that person's right.
And Helmick thinks it's in the best interest of a citizen to just comply with the officer during a situation. And if the citizen doesn't like how the officer handled it, they can reach out to the department because they say they take those complaints very seriously.
The officer starts asking them to do something or telling them to do something. Best at that moment just to do what they're asking or telling them to do, because there's probably a good reason behind that. But at the end of that, if there's a question about why the officer had them do that, or there's a complaint about how the officer handled that, we want to know that.
Braun says if someone thinks they have been assaulted by an officer and think they have evidence, she says to consult with a lawyer sooner than later.
There are statutes of limitations with these types of cases.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really do appreciate it. We're going to start our day out in Eugene, Oregon. I know that area. I played in Corvallis, Oregon. I guess it was like 1990. It was right when Desert Storm hit, and the band, before the show and after the show, we were there for a week, but we went and got pounds of pistachio nuts, and we're sitting there watching. Remember the Scud missiles, you guys? All the little green tracers in the sky. First time ever seeing that. Our thumbs were so sore from opening pistachio nuts. Okay, on with the show here. Off-duty Eugene police officer charged with strangling a woman. The familiar strangler. A Eugene police officer was arraigned Wednesday in Lane County Circuit Court on domestic violence-related charges after allegedly strangling a woman while off-duty on September 7th. I'm glad he didn't do it while on duty. According to court documents, Joshua West, age 40, was charged with 1 count of felony strangulation, constituting domestic violence, and 2 counts of recklessly endangering another person. West was arrested Tuesday by Springfield Police Department officers and booked into the Lane County Jail. He agreed to a supervised release plan and was no longer in custody as of early Thursday. Oh, he's watching the Bad Apple Report if his babysitter will let him. Okay, Melinda McLaughlin, a spokesperson for the Eugene Police Department, told the register guard that West was immediately placed on administrative leave. Ooh, probably still being paid, of course, following his arrest pending the outcome of the court's process. When an agency develops probable cause for an Abuse Prevention Act crime, such as is alleged, we would fully expect the agency to act on the probable cause and make an arrest. What? Duh. Okay, West was investigated for using poor judgment in 2016 and appeared to struggle with a field sobriety test after he was pulled over by Oregon State troopers. Oh, the blue line card on Highway 58 at the time. Oh, he had just passed his 18-month probationary period when the incident occurred. And there you have it. From that moment on, you had yourself a bad apple. Okay, he got off. A female passenger called 911 alleging he threw his gun and badge into her lap and told her to shoot him. Oh, I love it. A claim West denied. Oh, it didn't happen. Okay. Although he admitted to drinking before driving, he was not arrested or given a breathalyzer test. Blue privilege. In 2017, case reviewed the incident in the Civilian Review Board, the police auditor's office, and then Eugene Police. Pete Kearns agreed West violated policies, and judgment and conduct. Any disciplinary action taken by the police department was not disclosed, because there was none, of course. Kearns said behavior and judgment of off-duty officer in this case is disappointing and embarrassing. It's not only Okay. Kearns followed up to say West was humble, honest, and forthcoming in the wake of this. We don't want to. Okay, let's just listen to this. He provided us with information we would not have known if he had not been so thoroughly candid. Okay, he made no effort to conceal his action. And my hope is that he has grown from this experience. My hope is that he goes his ass to jail. When asked this week for records regarding any internal and external complaints involving Weston's 2016 incident, the Eugene Police Auditor's Office declined to comment. Okay. West signed a supervised release agreement Thursday, and he's been ordered to not be within a mile radius of the alleged victim's home, property, or place of work or school. Okay, a pretrial conference hearing is scheduled. Okay, all that good stuff. Wellity, well. Once again, we have a hero in the headlines. Joshua West, age 40, Eugene cop, knucklehead extraordinaire. On with the show.
Federal indictment against Edcouch City Manager Victor Hugo de la Cruz and Mayor Pro Tem Rene Flores reveals that the 2 city officials allegedly committed bribery and corruption by paying a local marketing firm a total of $6,000 for services and receiving $2,000 in kickbacks. The marketing firm is believed to be Pink Ape Media Consulting from Brownsville. According to a federal grand jury subpoena given to the city of Edcouch this year, the city was asked to turn over any information regarding contracts, payments, or business with Pink Ape Media, LLC. Before being hired as the city manager in 2019, De La Cruz worked for Pink Ape Media as a chief marketing director. And in a twisting turn of events, a 2020 trial involving the Brownsville School Board trustee revealed that Rodrigo Moreno Fernandez, the owner and creator of Pink Ape Media Consulting, is actually an FBI informant. In 2023, the FBI raided Edcouch City Hall as part of an investigation into the city's regulation of game rooms. City Manager De La Cruz was part of that initial investigation, but it's unclear if that led to his arrest by the FBI today.
A federal in Engelman is finally experiencing some closure tonight after a 5-year battle with the State Department of Corrections.
I felt targeted because I knew that this was fraudulent. I knew that there wasn't, obviously I knew I'd never given my client anything. I knew that they could not possibly find anything on him.
Engelman was assigned to a high-profile case representing Ricky DuBose. He faced a double murder trial for killing 2 prison guards aboard a transport bus in Putnam County. A state corrections investigator falsely claimed surveillance video showed Engelman passing something illegal to DuBose. She was arrested during that September meeting.
There is this element of understanding that I didn't really have control over my own life.
Engelman was fired from the Georgia Capitol Defender's Office as a result of the charges. 2 years ago, prosecutors dropped the contraband charge against her, and in February of this year, that same investigator admitted to a judge that the video did not show her passing any contraband to DuBose.
The judge really backed him into a corner and forced him to say, I admit that the video doesn't show that. It's frustrating to me that he could not do the right thing until this federal judge really forced him to.
Engelman's law firm also says the investigator used false evidence and withheld other evidence that backed her case, which they call a terrifying abuse of power by the Corrections Department.
Omaha Police added oversight to its no-knock policies in 2021 following the killing of Breonna Taylor. Here's what we've learned so far from the numbers that we obtained. In the 3 years before Breonna Taylor was killed, SWAT executed 314 no-knock warrants. In the 3 years after they added oversight, the number dropped to 204 no-knock warrants. Since 2021, Omaha police have executed 276 no-knock warrants, and for 136 of those, they used what they call standard entry. That's where they enter the home and search for the suspect. Now, in 140 cases, they used some other version of calling out the suspect. In the case of 37-year-old Cameron Ford, a couple weeks ago, officials say SWAT used standard entry. They explain this is used under heightened threat levels. However, as you mentioned, John and Aaron, the chief ordered standard entry to be halted.
Really, we want to look at what can we do to even avoid an officer-involved shooting in one of these situations. Are there other ways that we can still apprehend the worst of the worst, if you will?
Oh, here's that part of the show where you see a sad and depraved cop. Oh, he's so sad. I can't believe I got busted being a diddler. Deputy arrested in connection to solicitation of minors. Oh, Cleburne County, Arkansas. That's right. Deputy was arrested after law enforcement said he was involved in solicitation of minors. According to Cleburne County Sheriff Chris Brown, the deputy was identified as 37-year-old Jacob Teal. Look at Teal. Oh, I'm in so much trouble. My granddaddy's never going to talk to me again. Where do you think he learned it? No, just kidding. Just a legend. Okay, in a news release, Sheriff Brown said he was informed that the Faulkner County Sheriff's Office had arrested a Cleburne County deputy on Saturday morning. Oh, my goodness, what are we going to do? The Faulkner County Sheriff's Office told Sheriff Brown that they'd been conducting a sting operation for solicitation of minors and arrested Teal on related charges. Well, okay. News release said Sheriff Brown and Teal, he said Teal was arrested on one count of internet stalking of a child, one count of traveling to pursue an unlawful act with a minor. Teal is currently being held at the Faulkner County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Brown said the investigation is still ongoing. Ooh, this last paragraph is going to be good, you guys. I can tell because it's in quotes, okay? I've spoken with many of their other employees of the Cleburne County Sheriff's Office this morning and want the public to know that we collectively as a CCSO family were shocked, saddened, angry, and disappointed by this news. Sheriff Brown said in a release, there is no excuse for this type of behavior and we do not condone, tolerate such actions. The Deputy Teal, Annie, would you shut the hell up? Okay, the Deputy Teal was suspended immediately. Termination, blah, 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 blah. Okay, Brown also said in the department is fully cooperating. Well, they better be. Okay, now Porky's going to start making noise, so we got to get on with the show.
We're following that strange situation near Route 50 that ended with a Bowie police officer firing their gun. Bowie police tell us it all began when an officer stopped to check on a stranded driver. No one was hit, but a minivan was struck by the gunfire. News 4's Derek Ward talked with the mother of a passenger inside that car about those terrifying moments.
We're learning more about the incident that unfolded during the morning rush hour in Bowie, when a round fired by a Bowie police officer struck this minivan on Collington Road as it passes over Route 50. Bowie police say it began when an officer stopped to check on this Jeep, which was stopped on Collington Road. We spoke to the mother of a man who was a passenger in the Jeep, and she doesn't want to be identified on camera. She says it was a routine morning for her son and his family. Routine up to a point.
They dropped my granddaughter off at school. On the way to school, however, his head had flown out of the car, but, you know, in an effort not to be late, they kept going.
After dropping off one child to school, they were back on Collington Road.
His baby mom saw his hat and was like, "Do you want me to stop so you can get it?" And he told her, yeah.
She tells us they pulled over out of traffic while he went to retrieve the hat.
The police officer, she said, had drove past on the opposite side of her and came back around and pulled behind her.
She says by then her son was on his way back to the car and recounts what her son said happened next.
The police officer got out of the car, asked my son, where was he going? Was he going to her car? He told him yes.
What transpired after that is at the center of an investigation. A shot was fired. Her son wasn't hit, but this minivan was struck as it passed by. And there were passengers inside, but no one was injured.
I can't speak on why the officer shot or why he drew a weapon or had a weapon out.
She adds her grandchildren, their mother, and her son were all traumatized by the incident.
That's not something that, at this point, I'm prepared to talk about. One of the things that we know is that we're very early on in the investigation. Those are all facts trying to gain an understanding of exactly what transpired.
What I do know is he could have killed my son, and there would have been no reason. He wasn't a threat. He didn't have a weapon. There was nothing going on. He was simply picking his hat up off the side of the road.
The officer's body-worn camera, as well as video from a camera in the cruiser, will be part of the investigation, which is being led by the Prince George's County Police Department.
They're punching him.
They're punching this man. Sweetie.
You don't have to hit him! You don't have to hit him! You don't have to hit him! Stop hitting him!
Stop hitting him!
Stop hitting him!
You're gonna kill him!
Stop hitting him!
He's not resisting!
It's four of you! That's ridiculous!
Honey, call my lawyer. Call your supervisor. You can't do that. What's your name, sir? What's your name?
Badge number! Badge number!
What's your badge number? Call your supervisor, sir. On the ground. What's your name?
We're not being charged with nothing.
Run.
Folks, thank you so much for being here to watch the Bad Apple Report today. You are the best, and only the worst will do for you. That's why I'm going to go dredge up some more awfully bad apples for you for tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Okay, you guys are awesome. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.